I'm telling you, sometimes all you can do is shake your head and go, what in the world is going on out there? Hey, friends, Robert Imbriali here, and I wanted to stop by today and, she gives you some insight or some idea of things you can do to kind of help through this crazy situation. And interestingly enough, that's been a word I've been using this past week. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Everything that's going out there is unbelievable. As I'm sure you already know, you don't need me to tell you that. Things are a little on the wild side out there. But there are some things you can do. I'm one of those people who watches both some mainstream media, but also a lot of alternative media. And I kind of look for the truth somewhere in between. Because I think there's truth to everything. Everything is based on something. I know, our mainstream media tends to sensationalize just a little bit, right? No, they sensationalize a lot because they really want to keep you attached and watching. Because the more people who watch, the more people who read, the more people who download, the more money they end up making. So there's a little bit of a game there. And sometimes it's important to follow the money. So I wanted to share some things today, a little bit about this coronavirus, some best practices, if you will, things I've picked up over the past 2 weeks or so, and I wanted to share them with you to make sure that you had access to them, that information as well, because it may have not crossed your radar. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is not medical advice. This is advice I found online. This is advice I found by listening to some of the people, leaders that I follow, some of the people that do make a difference in this community. And I'm encouraging everyone to look at it from that perspective and say, okay, we're here to make a difference. And if you are a leader of any kind, even just the head of household, and you've got kids, you need to step up and lead and not allow yourself to get caught in the fear, because it's out there and it's everywhere. And I find it a little bit challenging sometimes as a coach, and the way that I coach and can feel into a person's energy to really help them get to the root of whatever is going on with them. Kind of a double-edged sword sometimes, right? When things like this are going on, I find it a little bit hard to keep it out, but I'm working, to keep my barrier up so I don't absorb all this energy. But I got to tell you, last Thursday was a tough day. It was, Wednesday. I think everything just spiked on Wednesday of last week. And Thursday, I was kind of like shell-shocked. And I'm going, what in the world? How are we going to do this? And I decided to take the weekend and not look at much media at all and kind of calm down a little bit, to come back into, my center, my strength again, and say, okay, what is it that we can really do to kind of protect ourselves, if you will? Now, there's no guarantee that what I'm going to share with you is going to, not allow you to get the coronavirus. You may get it, but there are some things you can do to build up your immunity. There are some things you can do to not compromise yourself. So if you do happen to run into this thing, it's going to be mild. It's not going to be a major thing. Now, from what I understand, there's some good news, because when you're infected with the virus and then you infect somebody else, that virus actually begins to morph. And over time, it keeps morphing and morphing and morphing. And what I learned is that over time, the virus actually gets weaker. I compare it a little bit to a man after he gets married, right? He's all buff and really strong, and then he gets married, and then too much beer and pizza, and he's just not the same guy anymore, right? It seems to be the same thing, and I'm just being facetious here. It seems to be the same thing for this virus, or any virus, in fact, that morphs the way that this one does. They mutate a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and 6 months, a year from now, you might get the virus, but it's just not going to be as strong. It's not going to be as potent as it is when it is first released into the wild, and this one's only, 90, 120 days old. It's really not that old. It's not been around all that long. So that's some good news on the horizon. So what can you do right now, today? What can you do to make sure you don't compromise your immune system? Let's talk about it, because there's some good things here. Number one, things to avoid. Number one is fear. Now, what happens when you're fearful? You know what happens? Your immune system shuts down. That's what happens. Why does your immune system shut down when you're fearful? Do you want to know why it happens? Because when you're in fear, what does your body do? It says we have to save and conserve all our energy for the fight or flight reaction. We got to run. We got to get away from the saber-toothed tiger, right? We got to go there. And what it does, it shuts down all the things that are kind of non-essential, right? We'll deal with the viruses, we'll deal with the infections, the bacteria, the pathogens. We're going to deal with that stuff. But right now, the saber-toothed tiger is coming and we got to go, right? So when you're in fear, your immune system shuts down. That's it. It's not working for you. because fear will shut it down. That's the way we're designed. That is normal. That is not, nothing wrong with you. That's the way it's meant to be. The other thing you want to avoid is you want to avoid stress. Again, the same reason here. When you're in stress or trauma, even worse, sort of a higher level of stress, if you will, your immune system shuts down literally for days at a time. Days at a time. So the higher the level of stress, the lower your immune response is. So you got to do everything you can to shield yourself from this stuff. You might say, I'm going to watch the news. I'm going to watch whatever's going on out there. 10 minutes and then stop. Go do something else. Go for a walk. Get away from it. Don't keep exposing yourself to it, because the more you expose yourself to it, the higher the stress level becomes, right? What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I really don't. Things here completely unprecedented. But I also can't worry about it. So one of the things that I've been doing is say, okay, what is the next indicated step for me? Right now, today, what can I do? What's the most important thing I can do next? I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm just taking each day as it comes, and that's really reducing my stress and keeping me centered and keeping me focused here so that I can continue to operate, right? We got to continue to live. We got to continue to operate. We got to protect ourselves. We got to be everything we can be, and, keep that stress as low as possible, because the higher the stress goes, the lower your immune response goes. The other thing that people don't recognize, panic again falls into that same stress, fear realm, and that will knock down your immune system. But the other thing people don't recognize a lot is that sugar is a real problem. Interesting thing, right? When is flu season? Flu season is always around the holidays. Now, you look at that and you say, well, why is it so prevalent around the holidays? Because we're having so much sugar. What happens to our immune system? Well, we've got stress, we've got panic, we've got sugar, we're drinking more alcohol. We are just blasting our immune system to pieces here that time of year. And of course, we're going to get sick. It makes sense. And I did the experiment. What I did is I went back and, the past maybe 5-6 years now, and I started to recognize, you know what? I get caught up in that too around the holidays. I get caught up in having too much sugar. I don't drink alcohol, but I have too much sugar, too much stress, too many things coming at me all at the same time. And what I did, I make a very conscious decision at the end of the year now to say, I'm going to pace myself. Here's what I'm going to do today. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. And if I don't get everything done before Christmas, I'll get it done after Christmas, not the end of the world. I stopped making that a hard deadline. And normally I make it anyway. It's not a big deal. Maybe there's 1 or 2 things that gets dropped. No problem. But I also don't get sick, right? Which is the coolest thing. I don't have a cold at Christmas time, or I'm not sick, I'm not throwing up, and that kind of thing. So you got to be aware of that sugar. And the other one on the list here, just to bring the list back for a second, is alcohol. Alcohol will, again, lower your immune response. So in the face of a new virus like this, right? You want to make sure that your immune response is as high as it can possibly be. Be as strong as you can be. We know, right, we're looking at the news, what we're hearing is that people with a compromised immune system, in other words, their immune response isn't quite high enough, they're the ones that are suffering the most with this. People who have a strong immunity to it, number one, some might not even get it. They might even not even know they were exposed to it. It'll just pass by, and that virus will look and go, yeah, not you. And it'll just go on to somebody else, right? And that may happen. Or when they're going to get it, it's going to be really mild. It's not going to be a terrible, terrible thing. So we've got to be able to keep our immune system as strong as possible. So let me give you some things you can do. So those are things to avoid. Let's do some things you can do. And by the way, I apologize. My PowerPoints are not fancy. I didn't really have time to get into this. I just want to get this message out there and share it with you. Things you can do right now to keep your immune system strong. Getting good sleep is really, really, really important. So when you talk about stress, can you get a good night's sleep when you're stressed? When you're panicked? When you're fearful? Can't do it, right? Can you get a good night's sleep when you have too much alcohol? Well, maybe, but you wake up and that's a different story. So all of those things disrupt your sleep. So what you got to do is you got to make a point now more than ever is to get a good night's sleep. Changes your life. You get a good night's sleep, you're able to sleep and you'll feel better the next day. You'll feel refreshed. You'll feel a lot stronger. That you've got to do. Of course, I talked about reducing your stress. That is important. And this other one, stay focused in the moment or on the moment, right? You want to stay focused right here, right now. So instead of looking at, and this is what happens, this is what fear really is. Fear is worry about what's going to happen in the future. You and I don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We have no idea if we're going to be able to buy food, buy gas. We have no idea if we're going to be quarantined, can't get out of our house. We don't know any of that stuff, right? So worrying about it doesn't change it. what's going to happen is going to happen. So you want to stay present in the current moment as much as possible and say, okay, what can I do right here, right now? What's the next thing I need to do that's going to help me, feel better, calm down, get things done, whatever it is that you need to do. What is that thing that you need to do right now? And just stay focused in this moment. This is where your power is. Your power isn't tomorrow. Your power isn't yesterday. Your power is right here, right now. So stay focused right here as much as you possibly can. I know, when you hear stories in the news, they're going to say, here's the quote unquote, the fact. And they'll say what that means is, and when you hear those words, I want you to know that now they're shifting from hard news to opinion. Hard news to opinion. There's a shift that happens. What that means is, or what that could mean is, when they start doing that, you could tune that out because that doesn't matter. They have no idea what it could mean. It could mean this. It could not mean this. It could mean something bad. It could mean something not so bad. It could mean nothing that they ever say will happen. So since you and I we don't have a crystal ball, we can't look at the future, we can't see what's going to happen there, here's what I'd like you to do. Just stay as focused on the current moment as you possibly can. That's going to serve you more than anything else. And next one here is upgrade your diet. Right? So that means stay away from sugar, stay away from garbage food, try to eat more fresh foods if you can, less processed. I know it's going to be harder this time, but do the best you can there. Upgrade your diet the best you can because your body needs to function at its fullest to be able to be defensive when this, if and when you get exposed to this coronavirus. You want to make sure that you've got your defenses up. You're ready for this. You're ready for this battle. And it'll be a very easy battle if you're ready for it. Not so much if you're not ready. So upgrade your diet. The other thing I want to talk to you about is add supplementation, supplements, vitamins, minerals, that kind of thing, because these are the building blocks that unfortunately aren't in our food in abundance like they probably should be. So a little bit of supplementation will go a long, long, long way. And I'll share with you an article, and I'm going to put me out of the camera here for a moment. This was on Lynn McTaggart's website, and she's quoting Dr. Downing here. And this is a recommendation from other physicians from the International Society for Orthomolecular Medicine. And they urge preventative supplementation to prevent or minimize symptoms of future viral infection, including coronavirus. Now, these include, you might look at this and say, my God, 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C. That's actually still a fairly low dose. High dose is like 5,000 milligrams or higher. So what they're saying here is in divided dosages. So you might take 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 at lunch, and then you might take another 1,000, at dinner time. You want to keep that vitamin C going. The other one is vitamin D3. And the specific vitamin, not just vitamin D, but vitamin D3, 2,000 IUs of that. Start daily, and you could start with up to 5,000. I actually took a vitamin D yesterday that was 50,000 IUs, and I take that once, and I don't have to take it again for a couple of weeks. And then what they're suggesting here is 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3 on a daily basis. So you've got vitamin D. That, by the way, I don't know if you've ever paid attention to alternative health, but vitamin D is the alternative to the flu shot. So if you don't, like me, you don't like to get in the flu shot, right? You don't believe in that, or it's not your thing, or whatever, you can up your dose of vitamin D, and guess what? You don't get the flu. So here what they're doing is they're just saying, well, this is a flu-like virus. Get the vitamin D high enough, and you don't have to worry about it as much because you're going to build up an immunity. Magnesium, this is one that we're missing in our diet. 400 milligrams daily in citrate, malate, chelate, or chloride form, right? Magnesium, that's an easy one. It's very cheap, very available. And I do take a magnesium supplement on a regular basis. Zinc, 20 milligrams daily. You know that if you get a cold, what's one of the first things you do? Get a zinc lozenge, right? Because it coats the throat and kills the bugs. Right? They can't exist when there's zinc there. So good advice. We know the coronavirus gets into the throat, gets into the respiratory system, and if you have zinc, that should help alleviate that. The other one here, which is interesting, is I don't take this one, but I'm going to add this one, is selenium. And that is an interesting mineral. I don't know exactly what it does. I can do a little bit of research on that, but selenium's the other one. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 little things you can take here, and very easy. These are not things that are very expensive. And they'll help build your immunity, help boost your immunity. And underneath there is just a link to where you'll find this article online if you want to go look for this article. And I'll post it in the comments too, so you can have access to that. I'd like you to go read the whole article because it's quite a long article. There is another form of vitamin C that is recommended rather than, the Energy C packs that NRC, everyone takes those. There's a lot of sugar in those, so I tend not to use those. There's a vitamin C that's liposomal vitamin C. Now, this is a better form of vitamin C and doesn't have all the sugar and doesn't have all the, some of the side effects you have of having too much vitamin C. And I won't go into the detail, but there's a reason for a lot of toilet paper if you're having a lot of vitamin C, that kind of thing. So liposomal vitamin C, a lot of it is available on Amazon. Some of it is sold out because people are getting word of this. So if you're listening to this, watching this, or sharing this with anybody, please do let them know that there's, there's a wait time for some of these things, but get on Amazon, get them ordered, get them in and start taking them. Because best thing you can do is stay out of the fear, number one, and number two is work on your own, system here. You need to defend yourself. You need to defend your castle, if you will. If your body's your temple, right? You want to defend it. You want to make sure it's as strong as possible. If you come across this virus, you don't want it taken over. You don't want it ruining your life. And for what's going on right now, try to remain calm as much as possible. Reduce your stress, reduce the fear, tune it out if you have to. And if you can't watch it and deal with it, sometimes I need to tune it out too, because I'm not as good as I would like to be as tuning it out. Just do that. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for anybody. And what I'd like to invite you to be is to step up and be a leader in your family. I want you to be a leader in your company. I want you to be a leader in your community. And what that means is, you can't show the fear. You really got to step up and be strong and be someone that they can model, because right now everyone's looking to who are our leaders and what are they doing? And I got to tell you, our government's failing us, right? It does, because they're just adding to the fuel here. They're adding to the fear, and they should be doing the exact opposite, and that's not happening. So who are they going to look for? Who are they going to look to? They're going to look to you. They're going to look to me. All of us need to step up and need to lead. You need to lead in your life. I need to lead in my life, and I need to lead the people that I work with. And I have a call coming up very shortly where I'll have a group of people, and I will do exactly that. And I encourage you to do the same, because you know what? Between us, that's going to make the biggest difference. All right, that's it for right now. I'm going to be back probably a couple of times this week with some more videos, but for right now, I just wanted to leave you with this one. Thank you so much for watching. If this has been valuable to you, please share it with your friends and followers. It doesn't do me any good. There's no promoting. There's nothing being sold here. It's just information that can help. And if it can help and you feel it can help, by all means, go ahead and share it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again real soon.